And I'm thrilled to have as my guest Ed Manzi. Ed, welcome.
Nice to be here.
Well, Ed, you're the chairman and CEO of Fidelity Bank. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Great to be here.
And I want to maybe give we got a few things to talk about because Fidelity Bank is in the middle of a bunch of good things. But first, in downtown Worcester in the City Square project, you are holding a very prominent building, signage in the building with a branch to come soon.
Yeah, we're very excited about it. We've got the new address. It's officially 153 Front Street, so we're excited about that. It's 3,000 square feet. We rented, and it's going to have maybe housing for 6 to 7 commercial and retail bankers. It's going to have a heavy focus on business banking, but with the residential units upstairs, there's 400, as you know, apartments right there. So it's got the perfect mix of business and consumer opportunities. We think it's one of the best locations because it's in downtown. It's part of all that's going on, but it's at that corner of Foster in front with the street light. There's 25,000, 30,000 cars a day, so it's a billboard. Yeah. People, so the profile of the bank is high, but we want to grow it, so that's going to help us do that. And as far as the design, it's going to be really a unique layout inside, more modern banking facility, which is going to have the perfect combination of human interaction and convenience and technology as well. And it's there's a neighbor, the Protein House is a restaurant that's a pretty cool new concept, which is apparently knocking out of the park in Marlboro. Yeah. And we're going to have an adjoining open doorway, so it's going to be sort of a co-location strategy, so people can grab a sandwich and come into the bank. People from the bank can go in there, and we have some plans to leverage that. We'll have some learning and seminar opportunities in the facility, and with Sherry Pitcher and the team, we have some other fun ideas. I don't want to spill the beans yet, but stay tuned for when that happens.
Yeah, just amazing just to see in the next few weeks, or the last few weeks, just it coming together. Some of the final details and finishes taking place with 145 Front Street, the 400 units of housing, market rate upscale housing. Open, they're leasing up. You can see when you drive by at night that the lights are on and people are moving in. 110 Grill, the restaurant, and then your spot right there in the corner with the, as you said, billboard kind of effect, the signage in the window. But soon people will be in there and a lot of activity. Yeah,
we're targeting. These things always take a little longer than you hope, but we're targeting soft opening late July or August, and then the big splash in the fall.
Great. Right. Well, let the other places work out the kinks, and then you'll be ready to go. Right. But you've been active, throughout your area, throughout much of Worcester County and beyond. But not too far from 153 Front Street, just on the other side of the railroad tracks, literally and figuratively, you've taken a prominent position with Cliff Rucker's investment in the 2 new hockey rinks and the 40,000 square feet of retail, now known as Worcester Fidelity Ice Center.
Yeah, we're really, well, as we all know, Cliff has made some really important investments in the city, so we're proud to be and thankful that he partnered with us with that project to help revitalize that area of the city. And I think even more importantly, what in the long run is bringing thousands of families and individuals down there. So that's just one example of the investment we've been making in the city for the last decade, but it's very high profile, and really happy to be part of it.
No, it adds. Fidelity Bank is a name well known in the area, but as you pointed out, with the 2 rinks and the affiliations that it has in terms of the youth leagues, the colleges, many of the colleges, Worcester Academy as well, St. Peter Marian and others playing there. You're bringing literally tens of thousands of people of a year into Worcester that probably otherwise wouldn't be coming in as frequently, and certainly all of the feedback that we've heard from people who've experienced it. One of the nicest rink facilities, but with some restaurants and amenities there that, and then many of the businesses in the Canal District commenting on some of the visitors and increased business that they've gotten.
Well, as a father of a basketball player, so I've coached AAU basketball and going to all different places. There's nothing in the basketball world that compares to that from hockey. The amenities you just talked about. It must be so much fun for the parents to go and the kids, and it's hard to find ice time. So he certainly had a big demand, and he's filled it.
Well, maybe the basketball will be next. We'll see. But I mentioned the growing footprint and presence, in Worcester County and beyond Middlesex County and to the west. you also did a recent acquisition or partnership with a bank in North Worcester County.
Yeah, merger with the Colonial Cooperative Bank. It closed on April 1st, 2018. Colonial was a small bank in Gardner and Winchendon, and we had a branch in that market already. So, one of our strategy, our mission is to bring the life design promise, the value of this unique banking promise, to as many people as we can in Massachusetts. And we do that two ways. We try to do it through organic growth, things like the branching, and we're in Shrewsbury Street, one of our largest branches in our market, and the 153 front. But also we talk to other banks on a regular basis, because as you know, the banking industry's been under a lot of pressure really for decades now. We did some research. There's been a 45% reduction in the number of banks in 15 years, but with the heavy emphasis under $1 billion. So the smaller banks are, it's
under $1 billion in assets
and total assets,
deposits, everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we did a merger with Barry Savings Bank 2 years ago, Colonial this year, and our focus is to find partners, other bank boards and management that agree and have the same cultural alignment and commitment to the values of this life design promise, a very caring approach to banking. And when you do, it's really powerful. The number in banking, I like to say mergers, 2 + 2 is always 5 when you focus on the numbers. But if you don't have a good cultural fit,
right,
it doesn't work. And these two, and the Colonial Bank as an example, is a perfect fit. And we'll be. It's a small city, Gardner, but we'll be the largest bank in that market. And just like we partner with you and all the businesses down here, every market we're in, we bring that same passion to the work, and I think it pays off.
Yeah, and that's so important. The cultural fit, and what does that mean? I think for our viewers, so many of our regional kind of banks play a significant role in getting involved in the community in a whole variety of different ways. Philanthropically, staff volunteering, taking the lead, serving on boards and commissions, of important nonprofits that serve kids or the arts. And so, it's important to have that alignment and to have kind of a shared philosophy, because when you pull those types of banks, or they get gobbled up, by some decisions made far away, sometimes that connection, not always, but sometimes that connection to the community is lost.
Yeah, it's our commitment to Worcester County. We in the last 4 years, we've done over $500 million of extended credit in the majority in Worcester County. The biggest city is Worcester. The majority of that is not the majority, but the largest amount of that is in Worcester. Mm-hmm. And not only the credit. The credit is the lifeblood of a growing economy, and Worcester certainly has that. And we know there's been some disruption in the banking, local banking scene. After this merger, we'll be the 3rd largest bank headquartered in Worcester County. And
wow.
That's 5 years ago, or 10 years ago, we were really low. So that life design promise has got a lot of traction. People are coming, mm-hmm. Voting with their feet, but not just the credit, not just the banking part of the work. To your point, last year alone, we gave $350,000 of charitable giving, the hard dollars. And if you did in-kind contributions with time,
right.
I don't even try to quantify that. But I got a list here. There's 37 organizations in Worcester proper that we supported last year alone. Ranging from Hanover to Hanover Theater to YWCA,
right.
the March of Dimes. The list goes on and on. And obviously we support the chamber heavily. So it's we like to say we care about our clients, our communities, and our employees. We care deeply about them, and caring is just a word unless you put actions behind
right.
it.
And one of those organizations that you've really got heavily involved is the Shine Initiative, and Shine Initiative's been involved in 2003, a nonprofit that's all about raising awareness and support for the issue of mental health in children and young adults. And what is it that brings a special commitment to that organization?
Well, it's an interesting question. Back then, we did an analysis of our charitable giving, and we thought it felt like we were playing defense with the pool of money we had, just given a little bit to a lot of places, and we wanted to identify one thing that was a significant unmet need where we could get behind it and make a difference. And so we came up with to really fight against the stigma and the discrimination associated with mental health issues, mental health conditions, with a focus now on children and young adults. And it has exploded in that 14 years. And we may be the #1 sponsor of it, but the sponsorships have gone wide, and each year we raise about $250,000 to $300,000, and that money is being reinvested back, directed specifically at middle school, grammar school, middle school, and high school kids. And most recently, we created a signature program called SWAT program, Student Wellness Advisory Teams, and the power of that is it's youth run. So they create teams in the schools. We sponsor, we give some seed money, we coordinate, but it's more sustainable. When they build it and they're listening to each other talk instead of some old guy like me come in there, or Paul Richard, who's done a great job. And in 2017, we were in 14 schools. We're going to add another 20 this year.
Wow.
And we got into every Worcester public school. They asked us in this year. So you know how many kids that's going to touch to change the lives of a lot of people.
And it's that empathy and the idea of support, and incredibly important. And as we've learned with research and everything, it's a much bigger problem than maybe people thought 15 years ago.
Right. And if you get it like any other health condition, if you catch it early, you can change the trajectory of someone's life. That's what really drives us to do this.
Right. Well, you mentioned that, and we want to thank you for your involvement at the Chamber. You're on the board, because our role is to serve our members, to advocate for the economy in the region. But you also play a pretty important role with one of our sister organizations, the Worcester Business Development Corporation, and the WBDC works on repurposing buildings that maybe the private sector alone couldn't do by accessing grants and programs, brownfield sites. They've been recognized, and we work closely with them. But when we're putting together complicated deals, yes, you can access some state and federal grants, which are important, but oftentimes you need private dollars to kind of help in that regard. And you played a pretty important role in facilitating role in bringing together some banks on some projects.
Yeah, that's a great partnership. I mean, everything you said, I totally agree with. The Craig Blaze and his team are really the pivotal component of that. But we had the 20 Front Street project is a good example. I think there were 10 banks in consortium, and they do a $25 million loan in partnership with some tax credits. And
right, so that would be kind of, some people, it's been referred to as the City Square project, and Chip Norton and some of the investors needed some private dollars to help redo part of 100 Front Street and some of the buildings and kind of repurposing.
Right, in the T&G building, we were involved in that. And then the Fidelity Bank Worcester Ice Center, they played a role. And just recently, we reconvened this consortium of community banks with the city leadership and Craig and his team to talk about what's next. When you have that kind of collaboration, it's really powerful. I know we compete with each other, but working together can be really powerful.
And that's you want to kind of diversify the risk pool, but it also allows us to look ahead in terms of, City Square. Maybe there's a parcel or two left there, but what are some of the next investment opportunities so we keep the momentum going?
Totally. Yeah.
People and activity. Just lastly, you've been a great supporter of the Chamber's WIN program, one of our growing programs, the Women's Information Network. How come?
Well, we have a lot of talented women in our bank, and it's really a no-brainer for us to support that organization. We've been involved in a while, but we took the leadership sponsorship recently, and it's important work. We get a lot of energy around the bank to go and support it and play leadership roles in there. And there's been a lot of press in recent years, appropriately, on gender diversity in boardrooms and in management teams, and in every aspect of society. And you probably saw our WBJ story. We were, if not the leader, one of the leaders in the Worcester County for diversity on our leadership team. The majority of our senior managers are women, so it's just natural. We try to hire people who are culturally aligned and can do the work and smart and hardworking. And we didn't have any quotas on this or anything. We just picked the best people, and the majority of them are women.
We appreciate it. I mean, 7,500 women every month get together, speakers, and kind of talk about workplace and how to network and support each other as well. And you mentioned that Worcester Business Journal. We're proud to say that our board chair of the Chamber, Kate Sherry, was graced the cover to kind of talk about this new emerging leadership among women and how appropriate women business leaders and appropriate it is. Well, Ed, thanks for being with us. We covered a lot of ground, but look forward to having you back and some of the announcements to come.
Yeah, looking forward to it too. Thanks, Tim.